Week 5, Chapter 3 Summary. Philosophers, religious scholars, biologists, psychologists, sociologists, and criminologists have all tried to explain why people do bad things. So let's take a few minutes and review the 3 approaches discussed in Chapter 3 as to why people do bad things. First, biological theorists do not propose biological determinism, only that certain traits or biological characteristics may influence one's behavior. Sociology explores the possibility that unselfishness and empathy may be a feature that has evolved in humans because human groups whose members exhibit these traits are more likely to survive. Next, learning theorists argue that people learn morals through rewards. This approach is relativistic in that it supports human learning as being neutral. There is no one neutral or moral theory to discover. Rather, the individual will adapt to whatever moral theory has been rewarded. Social learning theory argues that humans are active participants in interpreting and adapting to the rewards around them. Researcher Bandera especially offered explanations of how individuals can turn off their self-regulatory mechanisms, their conscience, and perform inhumane acts. Lastly, developmental theorists propose that morality comes only at advanced stage of emotional and social development and is linked to cognitive development. Kohlberg's theory proposes a hierarchy of moral stages, with the highest stage holding the most perfect moral principles. However, not everyone has the thinking capacity or the proper exposure to discover these principles. According to Kohlberg, in the higher stages of moral development, ethical relativism must give way to universalism, and those who reach the highest stages have discovered the true moral principles that are absolute and exist apart from humanity. If one believes that morals are simply what humans choose to define as such, one might be more inclined to a learning theory perspective. If one believes that morals exist naturally and humans discover their existence only through reasoning ability, one might be more inclined to accept the developmental stage theory of moral development. However, the approaches to moral development presented in Chapter 3 are not necessarily mutually exclusive. One might agree with stage theory with the understanding that at a lower stage, rewards are necessary to bring about moral behaviors, for example, rewarding young children for sharing. One might support learning theory, but also accept the notion that when we are intellectually mature, our reasoning abilities act as go-betweens for simple rewards. Thus, although young children might be fooled into thinking that practicing the piano is bad because someone was punished for it in a story, no older child or adult would be taken in by such a trick, and individuals in a totalitarian society may continue to believe in democratic ideals through reasoning, regardless of the punishment they may receive for such beliefs. Biological research indicates that moral decisions come from both the reasoning centers of the brain and the more primitive emotional centers of the brain. Thus, people's feelings of empathy and sympathy and doing the right thing may be a result of evolution. This finding fits nicely with Carol Gilligan's research that empathy and caring are related to morality. You also explored the connection between immorality and behavior, especially criminality. Some research has attempted to predict behavior from measures of morality. Also, there has been increasing and interesting research that indicates that some types of interventions can improve the moral reasoning abilities of some offenders. But whether moral reasoning will affect behavior is a different question and is yet not known. Please now continue with Week 5 assignments.